Hello there, my RPG lovers, and welcome to another video. Knight's Path is an upcoming third-person action RPG set in a light fantasy medieval open world. You might remember this video I did a couple of years ago where I first talked about this game. However, the gameplay in that demo was almost completely different and the game is unrecognizable now in the best way possible. I compared the gameplay in that demo to Sekiro because it was fast-paced and it focused on using the parry mechanic a lot. In the meantime, Knight's Path turned into a more grounded medieval fantasy with a more realistic combat. It's still fast-paced and it has similar mechanics, but it looks more realistic and grounded. It's also not so hard to see why it's easily comparable to the likes of Kingdom Come Deliverance, not only because of how it looks and its medieval setting. Knight's Path is also a story-driven action RPG where we're going to play as a character named Alric, a young noble who lost everything and who is forced to rebuild his life from nothing. This small development studio is a huge fan of Gothic games, so there are definitely some creative similarities, like the small but dense open world and the progression system. Oh yeah, dragons as well. So in this video, I'm going to include everything we currently know about Knight's Path and we're going to break down all of its major features in order to see what kind of a game we can expect to get when it releases. But first, support the channel by listening to today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Lord. Lord is a co-op action roguelite game developed by Big Distraction. It's set in a cursed fantasy world with over-the-top, chaotic experience where players team up to battle, loot and stack ridiculous power-ups.
Word! We better take my stuff! Drop it, you lasers!
I played with my girlfriend in 2-player co-op, but you can play it with up to 7 friends, which can result in cooperative chaos, to say the least. The high fantasy action and the visual style of Lord blends really well with light-hearted, self-aware humor. The main gameplay loop in Lord is based around fighting bizarre enemies and continually growing your character's power through weapon swapping and discovering explosive power-up synergies. There are over 90 power-ups available and many different weapons to pick up like swords, wands, bows, guns, crossbows and so on. You can swap these weapons in the middle of the combat and all of them give you at least a couple of unique abilities that you can use. Big bosses, ridiculous power-ups and great co-op fun awaits you in Lord, so don't miss out on a chance to pick it up on discount. It's currently under $10 on Steam. Or if you're fast enough, you can grab a key for the game in the pinned comment down below. Just don't forget to use my link in the video description or in the pinned comment, so that developers know that you came straight from this video. Huge thanks to Lord for reaching out to the channel and sponsoring this video. Here's how the developers of Knight's Path describe the story. Knight's Path is a story-driven action RPG set in a grounded low fantasy world inspired by the Holy Roman Empire. You play as Alric, a young disgraced noble who has lost everything and is forced to rebuild his life from nothing. What begins as a struggle to reclaim his lost status soon grows into a deeper calling. You come to realize that the people of Erenhold need you and how you respond is your choice. You may walk the knightly path, embracing duty, sacrifice and service to others, or you may act out of self-interest, seeking personal gain and comfort. Through discipline and hardship, your decisions shape what kind of knight Alric becomes and what his name will come to represent. Judging from all of this, I think it's safe to assume that you're going to have proper RPG choices and consequences. Probably some skill checks in dialogue, as well as gameplay decisions outside of dialogue. That's what I'm hoping for. They also pointed out that your choices will shape how the world reacts to you and define the path that you ultimately walk. Now, all of that sounds really cool, and those are the features that we should expect from these kinds of RPGs. Although we still don't have any definitive info about these features, so it's yet to be seen. I am not sure how deep the story is going to be and if the main character will have a very defined backstory, like Henry from Kingdom Come Deliverance, for example. Or this part of the story will lean towards something like Gothic, where we get a very basic backstory, if you can even call it that. I actually prefer the latter, because it leaves you with more wiggle room to shape the personality of your character however you see fit. I like when you're not being weighted down by a very defined backstory and the game gives you more room for interpretation. There are some interesting pictures about characters that you're going to meet, but that's about it. We have a lot more clips and info about the gameplay, which is really important. I think it's always a good sign when developers are just pumping a lot of these new gameplay clips, and this studio has been doing that for years, and they just dropped a very cool gameplay trailer. The combat system in Knight's Path is inspired by historical European martial arts, or HEMA for short. That means they're going to try and build it around authentic stances and techniques. It's grounded in realism while making deliberate compromises to ensure combat remains engaging and satisfying. For example, like the finishing moves, which are definitely leaning more towards a fantasy style of combat. I think the combat looks pretty damn good in general, and I know for a fact that this combat is going to feel weighty and punchy. It should not lack the sense of impact. The reason why I'm saying that is because of the demo. Pretty much all of your hits and the opponent's attacks as well had a lot of weight behind them, and it made the combat feel great. So I have no doubts they will apply the same logic here, regardless of these combat differences. After all, even by just looking at these clips, the combat looks and sounds pretty good. It seems like it's going to be brutal as well, which is a big plus in my book. They pointed out that this combat system will not have flashy rolls or arcade shortcuts, and that every strike, parry, counter and step is intentional and meaningful. So yeah, no rolling around, but the parry and counter systems are still in the game. And these mechanics are definitely going to be important to master. That was also the whole idea of the demo gameplay, because parry was very important, and the reason why I compared the demo to Sekiro's gameplay. Putting that aside, we have to talk about the progression system as well. Like I mentioned before, this is one of the major reasons why this game is comparable to good old GOTY games. They said the progression system is deeply tied to combat itself. You will begin the game as someone who never truly held the sword, and it shows in how Alrik moves. He is slow, unsteady and inefficient. Through practices, failure and guidance from skilled teachers, his technique gradually improves. Animations, stances and overall fighting style evolve naturally over time until mastery is earned rather than given, and Alrik becomes a true swordsman. Yeah, that's the general idea for the progression, which even Kingdom Come used, but OGs will know that this goes all the way back to Gothic 1. You begin the game as a nobody, well, in this case a disgraced noble who has no idea how to hold a sword. If you never played an RPG of this type, the progression system is as important or even more important than the combat itself. Everything changes once you start learning some skills from the teachers, because you get new animations for attacks and you become a lot more efficient. Yeah, if you want to pull off a very strong progression system like in Gothic, this has to be on point. And it looks like these developers are fully aware of that, and more importantly, they seem competent. We are still not sure how the leveling system is going to work, so we'll have to wait and see. Then we have the armor system. To quote the developers, armor in Knight's Path is fully functional, historically grounded and clear testament to status and protection. You begin with no protection at all, vulnerable to every strike, and progress logically from simple padded gambesons to full plate armor that's nearly impenetrable. You feel the difference with every upgrade, making progression deeply logical, immersive and rewarding. By observing an enemy's armor and stance, you can judge their strength and experience at a glance, making encounters readable, tactical and immersive. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but yeah, getting a new armor piece in GOTY games was a huge deal, and one of the reasons why the progression system felt so good. Getting a big upgrade was rare and you had to earn it, and it seems like Knight's Path is going to take the same, well, path. I love the idea of knowing the strength of the enemy by just looking at their armor, and that might be a big feature in this game. Besides that, we're also going to get two factions that will influence progression, quests and narrative. So I'm guessing new armor sets could be connected with these factions and restricted as well, but don't quote me on that. By the way, I saw some extremely cool armor sets in some of their development updates. I mean, look at this. They mentioned immersive simulation with NPC routes and daily schedules, which can be considered as another Gothic-like feature. If you start drinking every time you hear me say Gothic, well, you would probably pass out by now. But like I mentioned before, these guys are huge fans of Gothic, so it's very easy to explain the point of these features by using that comparison. Then we have the open world, which is supposed to be smaller and handcrafted. There will be no level scaling in Knight's Path, so it's going to be a proper old school exploration. Which means we'll probably stumble upon stronger enemies that we can't kill until we progress enough and come back stronger. That's always great in theory, but I can't wait until we get a little bit more info about the open world. Here's what they had to say about the open world. Explore a handcrafted medieval world of villages, forests, fields, caves, manors, ruined castles, and the living city of Ernahold. Help common folk survive harsh times, uncover hidden secrets, political conspiracies, and forgotten lore, and face monsters, bandits, and seasoned knights. Take part in castle sieges as both attacker and defender, join one of two distinct factions, and compete in a nightly tournament that unfolds alongside the main story. Your choices shape how the world reacts to you and define the path you ultimately walk. It seems like this little indie studio is more than capable on delivering on promises, at least so far. And judging by all of these gameplay improvements and how the game changed during these 2 years of development, I followed every update on Twitter and YouTube, and I just couldn't wait to start talking about this game again. Knight's Path seems to be in pre-alpha state currently, so I don't think we're going to get this game this year, but I'll keep you updated about the release date when we get more info. They just came out with a banger trailer, which reached a lot of people, especially on Twitter. Even on YouTube it already has more than 200k views in only 2 days, and I couldn't be happier for them. So I'm really glad to see this game getting so much deserved attention, but we still have to wait for more info about the development and the release dates. One thing is for sure, I will keep you posted and make more videos when we get more info, so stick around. Check out Lord on Steam by clicking the link in the video description. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. And if you want to go a step further, consider supporting your boy by becoming a YouTube channel member or a Patreon. Huge thanks to all my current supporters, and I'll see ya in the next one.